Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the same verse, in Surah An-Nahl, chapter number 16, verse number 60 and 69, regarding the bee, and the Arabic word used is fasluki and kuli. And previously, we thought that it was the male bee which was the worker bee. But later on, now we've come to know it is not the male bee which is the worker bee, but it is the female bee which is the worker bee. No wonder Shakespeare in his plays, he mentions regarding the female bee being the worker bee and the report to the queen. But we have come to know today that it is not the male bee which is the worker bee, but it is the female bee which is the worker bee. The Arabic word used is fasluki and kuli, which refers to a female bee. And they do not report to the queen, but they rather report to the king. Imagine the glorious Quran mentions regarding the movement of the bee, and the glorious Quran mentions regarding the worker bee being a female bee, and they report to the king. As we know, as which we have discovered recently, the glorious Quran mentions all of this 1400 years ago, which science has discovered it recently. Furthermore, in the field of zoology, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, in Surah An-Naml, chapter number 27, verse number 17 and 18, when Solomon and his army, they marched and they passed through a lowly valley. So one ant said to the other ants, "O ye ants, get into your inhabitation before Solomon and his army tramples you beneath your feet." Some people might say, what a fairy tale book the glorious Quran is. The ants talking among themselves. But today, after science has advanced, we have come to know that the closest resemblance to any living thing, when you compare to the human beings, it is the ant. The ants, they have the souk, the marketplaces. They have sophisticated mechanisms of work wherein they have foremen, managers, workers, etc. And when the grains, they get wet, they take it outside to dry, as though they know that humidity will cause rotting of the grains. And when the grains begin to bud, they chop off the bud, as though they know that budding would cause rotting of the grains. So the glorious Quran mentions regarding the lifestyle of the ant 1400 years ago, which we have come to know recently. So there is an important message in this verse. Furthermore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ankabut, chapter number 29, verse number 41. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that those who take protectors besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they build themselves houses like that of a spider. And verily the house of a spider, it is very flimsy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that those who take protectors besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are building houses like that of a spider. And we know that the house of a spider, it is very flimsy. Besides the house of a spider being very flimsy, the relationship between the male spider and the female spider, it is not good. And many a times the male spider kills, many a times the female spider kills the male spider. So the glorious Quran mentions regarding this as well in detail. Furthermore, in the field of physiology, we know regarding the blood circulation. And who was the first who discovered the blood circulation? Can anyone guess? Who was the first person who discovered regarding the blood circulation? Can anyone guess? What do we learn in school? We learn it is William Harvey who has discovered regarding the blood circulation. But who was the first person who actually discovered regarding the blood circulation? It is Ibn Nafis who was the first person who discovered regarding the blood circulation. But in our school we learn regarding William Harvey. We don't learn regarding Ibn Nafis. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions regarding the blood circulation and the production of milk. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, Surah Al-Mu'minun, chapter number 23, as well as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nahl, chapter number 16, verse number 66. And in brief, regarding blood circulation and the production of milk. When we consume food, it goes into the stomach and then it goes to the intestine, and through the bloodstream via a complex media, it reaches almost all the organs, including the mammary glands. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks regarding the cattle, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the cattle for us so that we derive milk from it and we derive various benefits from it.